My name's Jared, and today we are going to unbox and look at the Sony 70 to 200 millimeter G Master 2.8 lens. I am super excited about this lens, and so let me preface my excitement. The reason I'm so excited is because when I was a Canon shooter, one of my favorite lenses was the 70 to 200 2.8. It's a mainstay in photographers with that are Canon shooters. And when I switched over to Sony, I was apprehensive at first because all they had was a 70 to 200 f4. Now, I did end up purchasing a couple of those lenses, and they're great, but I just never could get down to that f2.8, and I really wanted a lens that was it was bigger and 2.8 aperture, and finally Sony has done that. Now, this lens is pretty pricey. It is a little bit of sticker shock for most of us out there. It's more expensive than Canon's version of the lens, and I mean, it's a pricey purchase. Over here are the other two G Master lenses, the 85 millimeter and the 24-70. So now I have the kind of the trifecta of G Master lenses, and so far they have been fantastic. So this is the Sony A7R II over here. It's what I'm going to be using this lens on primarily. So let's scoot our camera and our lens off to the side here and take a look at what you get in this box. So we'll go ahead and open it up. Just like most other Sony lenses, it comes with a manual over here, and it comes with the lens inside of a nice protective case. There isn't really anything else in the box other than that. But it is just a nice looking box and, good packaging. All right, so let's go ahead and remove this and open this case up. I've always liked the cases that come with these lenses. Canon and Nikon also produce a case similar to this. It has a belt loop here, so you could put it on your belt, and then it also has a strap that you can, go over the shoulder with. I've never been, really a huge fan of these cases. They're just kind of big and bulky, and they're nice and they're very protective, but if you have like a camera bag or something like that, you're most likely not going to need, this big additional case. It is nice though. Get all this stuff out of the way. Now this lens I've been waiting for a while. I pre-ordered this lens a while ago, and it was supposed to ship last month, and just due to delays, did not ship until just yesterday. So this is a heavy lens. Sony, one of the things that people would say about Sony for quite a while is, well, they're just lighter weight. The cameras are lighter weight, everything is lighter. And that is starting to change with these G Master lenses that are getting pretty heavy. So this lens is heavy, and it's a little bit heavier than the Canon variant of the 7200 2.8. So let's talk about a couple of things that I think are fantastic about this lens. Right here, you can actually remove the tripod mount right from it. No longer are you having to remove a cuff that comes off of the camera. Obviously, you're still able to loosen this and adjust the angle, but you don't have to remove that completely now. If you want to remove it, there's a little tab down here that releases it, and you could just slide it right back on. I love this. This is fantastic. Also, in the base of it are two 1/4-20s and a little pilot right here in the center, because most tripod plates have a little pilot to, so when you mount this down, it can stay nice and sturdy. Most of the other lenses have not had this. It's just a single 1/4-20 down at the bottom, so your lens can kind of rotate on the tripod plate, which of course is a bummer. So I'm really liking this. When I found out that this is how this lens was going to be, I was super excited, because now you're able, if you're going to be shooting on a tripod attached to your lens, all you have to do is just pop this right off and with your camera, and you can go shoot handheld and then just slide it right back in. This is just a major feature right here that I really like. So I'm excited to use it in those situations. On the side of the lens here, we have our autofocus, manual focus switch, fairly common on most lenses like this. We have our focus settings here, so if you're shooting up close or further away, just how you want focus to react. And then we also have optical steady shot, OSS, on the Sony lenses here, and 2 modes for that. 3 focus lock buttons on the side of the lens. One of the features that I really love about a lot of these Sony lenses is when you have your shot framed up and you have focus, you can just hold down that button and it will disable autofocus so your camera will not try to refocus. When I shoot a wedding, I will, and the bride and the groom are about to kiss, I will lock focus on them and hold that button so that way I can let my camera actually take photos instead of having to try and maybe do autofocus again, or autofocus starts to happen again, during that process. Now, I'm a big fan of using back button focus on a camera, so, autofocus typically doesn't happen when you have to manually turn that on by using the AF button on the back of the camera. But for those of you that like your autofocus to work naturally, which there are a lot of situations where I do like my autofocus to work naturally, you have your autofocus lock here on the side. So pretty nice. The lens is just beautiful. The face of this lens, I just love looking at these. It's a 77 millimeter ring, so it's a fairly common size. So if you have filters, I have filters that I've had since back when shooting Canon. 77 is a standard size, so I have filters that are going to fit this. This is a fly-by-wire focusing system, which means it's electronic, as is many other features on this lens. And so one of the things that was a little bit rough with some of the early Sony lenses when shooting video was having auto or manual focus feel natural. You'd start to roll focus and then there'd be a little bit of a delay. And it would just feel weird. You're looking through the camera and you're trying to adjust focus and rack it from one end to the other, and it would just feel weird. And these G Master lenses are all new technology and they work way better in that situation. So you'll notice this lens doesn't really balance on its own, not that it really needs to. I don't know when the lens is going to be sitting like that. It's probably weighted perfectly for being attached to a camera. And so I like that about it. Let's see how it feels mounted to the camera. So obviously it's a little front heavy. I have a plate on the base of my camera, so that's something that's a little bit different. And then I also have a battery grip on my camera, which is going to rise the camera up higher than the lens. So it doesn't sit too well with the situation that I have going here. But nonetheless, most people are probably going to be shooting without a battery grip, and the camera would probably balance really nicely without that. This is really heavy. This is starting to get as heavy as my Canon rig that I used to shoot with, which was a 5D Mark III with a battery grip and a 7200 and a speed light on top. I mean, that was a heavy setup to be using all day long. And this is a little heavy too. One thing that I like to do is rest the tripod plate here on my hand while so that I could just zoom like this. This is my typical method when using a longer lens, and it feels pretty good. This feels a little bit short, but it feels pretty good because I can hold on to it when I'm shooting, and I can zoom and then reach forward a little bit and focus if I'm in a manual focus situation. So far, I'm really liking this lens. It is very heavy though, and I'm not used to super heavy lenses anymore shooting Sony. All right, so power up for the first time. Probably going to take a moment or two to power. Oh no, it's already powered up. It's just a little dark in here. So I'm really excited to go out and play with this lens. It's been a while. I actually don't have any 70-200s right now. In anticipation for this lens, I sold them and have just been renting them, and I'm really excited to get out and use this lens. Try it with some filters, just try different situations and see how it works. I have a wedding this weekend. I'm super excited to be able to use this lens at, because it arrived just in time. So make sure to subscribe to our channel here, because I am going to have some reviews of this lens coming up and some video of this lens in action coming up to share with all of you. It's an expensive lens, so I recommend that you do your research before you go out and purchase something like this. This is an expensive lens that cost about as much as this camera body did by itself, which is a lot. So there's links in the description below to where you can order this lens. It's starting to show up on Amazon as well. So for those of you Amazon Prime shoppers out there, click on the link below to get more information about this lens. If you have any questions or thoughts about it, leave them in the comment section below, and make sure you subscribe to our channel so you get notified when we get other videos up that are about this lens and many other things photography related. Thanks for checking out Ditch Auto. Hope that you enjoyed this video. Click on the like button, and we'll see you next time.